welcome to Journey into Misery, where I explain complicated comics, characters and concepts to the patient and prepared to complex heart and heart. My name is Kevin Shiak, and this week we're still doing... How do you need to look? How did
I
you...
had almost said Daredevil, but then I was like, wait, is it?
It is Daredevil.
It's still Daredevil.
Yes. How... Like, if anyone's listening, this isn't a bit. Like,
This is me being so tired and so...
you realise I'm not updating that board because I've got the spreadsheet now.
Oh yeah! I forgot that you made the spreadsheet.
Yeah. Okay, this week we're doing the second week of Daredevil, and we're focusing all on a run by a lady named Nocenti.
Okay.
This pretty much immediately follows Born Again.
Right.
So we're diving straight into the thick of it after Matt has had his life completely ruined.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get so much worse.
The very first thing I want to do is I want to apologise for any extra or additional background noise in today's episode. It's a bit windier outside and there seems to be a bit more traffic going by than usual for this time of night. We try and record as late as possible, around 11 o'clock, midnight, and it's usually quite quiet outside, but it seems more cars going past than usual. So before we start, I need to thank a few people. Firstly, I want to thank Jason, who is at OneWordLong on Twitter, who had a big role in convincing me to do an episode on Nocenti's run. A few people on Twitter told me I should take a look at it and maybe devote an episode to it, or at least talk about it a bit. But Jason was really the one that said, no, you need to take a look at it. Some really good stuff. And I spent the last week reading this run for the first time, and he was right, everyone was right. There's some really good comics. Really good successor to what Frank Miller did. Secondly, we'd like to thank two new supporters on Patreon. First of all, thanks to Tanner, who is at Tanner_Juicebox on Twitter. And secondly, our good friend Aidan Sullivan, the Beb, who is at Goodness Aidan on Twitter. Both Tanner and Aidan supported at the $10 level, which means they get access to everything, including the brand new series of early access episodes where I made you sit and listen to me tell you about Identity Crisis.
It was horrible.
It was alright.
It was horrible.
It was terrible. So those are going to be going up as Pay What You Want in a few weeks, but if you want to hear them now, you can pledge to the Patreon. It's patreon.com/kingimpulse. We've got show notes, you can pick a show, you've got the bonus episodes, and as of today
We reached a level.
we reached one of the 3 new goals that I added.
You added them like 2 days ago.
I know I did.
We reached it already.
Yes.
It's good.
Because we reached the $70 goal,
It's ridiculous.
we will be doing written comics reviews exclusive to all patrons. Whether you support for $1 or $10, you'll be able to access these written reviews of contemporary weekly comics. Some of them by myself, some of them by Helena, some of them by both of us. So that's exciting.
It's terrifying. Because I don't know how to write.
I know, but we're getting out of there.
Oh,
If we get $10 more, we're going to start doing Let's Plays.
oh yeah. Forgot about that.
So Injustice, Gods Among Us, the Lego superhero games, stuff like that, we're going to start doing a YouTube series if we get $10 more a month on Patreon. And the last goal.
No.
What's the last goal, Helena?
I can't remember how much it is. It's $100.
$100. If we get... It's only $30 away.
No.
If we get to $100 a month,
I have to watch the Howard the Duck movie.
we will watch Howard the Duck and record an episode about it.
I hate it. It's creepy. It has people eyes.
Does that people eyes?
It's horrible.
So if you want to head over to patreon.com/kingimpulse, that's where you can pledge to be a patron of the show and get Helena to watch Howard the Duck.
Pledge to ruin my life. To watch me cry at my ultimate fears.
What? Is it because of the puppet thing?
Yeah, it's because of the puppet thing.
Yeah, Helena's really scared of like
Marionettes.
marionettes and
Yeah.
puppets.
Like ventriloquist dummies and stuff, and
Yeah.
it really reminds me
Like
of that.
Gabbo.
So horrible. I hate it.
Also, we have 2 new iTunes reviews.
Yay, I can't remember them. You
Well,
read me one.
I read one, and we've got one that's brand new to you. I don't know who these people are, so I can't attach a name or a Twitter handle to them outside of their iTunes usernames. The first one comes from Coconut Monkey with the title, "Just hit the subscribe button."
Yeah, this one was good.
It's 5 stars.
Good egg.
The worst part of being a comic fan is not being able to share your knowledge with everyone. Comics are weird. They're convoluted myths with labyrinthian backstories. It can be frustrating when a casual fan asks a simple question and the answer is not as simple. That's why this podcast is so great. Kieran tells us from the very beginning that this will be confusing. Your head will hurt, you'll get lost, but don't worry. He's included pictures. Helena is the dream casual fan. She wants to learn and puts up with the weirdness of comics. And when she sees something cool, she lets you know. Whether it's a talking tiger or a zombie Hawkman, Helena lets her geek flag fly. The podcast is the perfect Socratic debate between the young hungry fan and jaded experienced nerd we all have inside us.
That's so nice.
So thank you for that, Coconut Monkey. The second one comes from Canaveral42 with the title Great Show with 5 stars.
Yeah.
And he says, heard about this show through Warrock Ajax and I have to say that I love it. Kieran has the kind of conversations with Helena that I often have with my wife, but with far more research and depth of knowledge than I have. Helena responds with an enthusiasm that I envy and reminds me of why I love comics in the first place. Great show, guys.
Oh, that's cute.
That's absolutely lovely. That made our day.
Thank you.
So if you want to go to iTunes and search Journey into Misery, leave us a review there. We will read it out in the show before we get into the nitty gritty of the episode.
Before you go ruin my life.
Okay, so lastly, the image gallery.
Yes.
It's there on kingimpulse.com. If you want to follow along, I'm going to be clicking and showing Helena pictures of characters. She's going to react to them. Whether you do it as you're listening or come back to it after you've listened to the show, the image gallery is there, kingimpulse.com. So, and Nocenti's run on Daredevil. I just read this over the course of this week, but as I said, it's the perfect follow-up to Frank Miller's run. It shares similar tones, but it just feels a lot bigger than Frank Miller's run. The stakes are higher, the villains are bigger, the world itself feels bigger. There's a lot more crossover with the Marvel Universe and weirder aspects of the Marvel Universe.
Weirder?
Yeah.
Like weird supervillain?
Yeah. Like with Frank Miller's stuff, it crosses over the Marvel Universe, but it's kind of stuff you expect Daredevil to cross over with, like Punisher.
Yeah.
But this is as far and away from that as possible.
I'm excited.
In the best way. It really utilises the shared universe aspect of superhero universes and the Marvel Universe.
Like the multiverse sort of thing.
Well, no, just the idea that all these stories take place.
Connected.
Yeah. Not even a multiverse, just like one universe.
Okay, right, yeah.
So, while Spider-Man's doing this, the Fantastic Four are doing this, and Daredevil's doing this, and what Daredevil's doing might bring him into contact with Spider-Man, but it also might bring him into contact with Ghost Rider or Man-Thing or Howard the Duck.
Ugh, burn it. Hate him.
So this is Nocenti's run, but as I said last week, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the artist as well.
Okay.
So among others, it has some top-notch art from Barry Windsor-Smith, Lewis Williams, Rick Leonardi, Kieran Dwyer, but most of the book is by John Romita Jr., who also did Man Without a Fear with Frank Miller.
Oh, alright. Okay, so he's used to it.
Yeah, he's a Daredevil type kind of guy.
Nice.
He's a legend in the business.
Okay.
He's the son of John Romita Sr., obviously, who's also a legend in the business.
Oh, so it's like a family sort of thing.
Yeah. John Romita Jr., he's iconic on it, like instantly iconic on everything he does, pretty much. He's currently joined Superman for DC Comics.
Oh, okay, so he's like...
And,
he's decent.
Yeah, and that's the first work he's done for DC Comics ever.
Oh, okay.
And he's been working for like 30 years.
Christ.
How much do you remember of last week?
I remember being really upset.
You know that Matt's life has been ruined, basically.
Yeah, and everyone's laughing at me.
Why is everyone laughing at you, Helena?
Because I was like, oh, it's all going to get better. And you were like, we'll see you next week. It's not going to get better, is it? It's going to get worse.
So do you remember how we left at things last week?
Not really.
Matt lost his home, he lost his license to practice law.
Yeah. I just remember that everything went really wrong.
He lost everything, but he found himself and he's back with Karen Page. Him and Karen Page are an item again.
Okay, at least he's got that. Don't laugh! I know it's going to go badly.
So following his disbarment, Matt takes a job as a cook in a diner.
Aww.
And the Black Widow shows back up, hunting a rogue agent named Jack Hazard.
Jack Hazard. That's amazing.
Who, similarly to Nuke, was messed with a whole bunch, and he has the power to control the rhythm of people's hearts.
That's amazing.
She teams up with Daredevil because she knows Hazard's deep religious conditioning will be set off by seeing a man dressed in a bright red devil suit.
That's so dumb. I love it.
And Matt's understandably very angry about being used by this.
Yeah.
Jack Hazard nearly kills Daredevil, but But Black Widow gets him to his knees, and in a moment of lucidity, Hazard realises what a danger he poses to himself and others, and commits suicide.
What? He couldn't, like, just reform?
No, he's been thoroughly messed with by the government.
Oh yeah, he got fucked with, didn't he?
Yeah. There's a lot of cynicism in Nocenti's run, which I'm sure you can't wait to get through.
Yeah.
Matt encounters a group of lovable skate punks known as the Fat Boys.
That's cute.
And they're like 12, 13-year-olds. And there's a lot of children over the next, like, 40, 50 issues.
I think they're going to die, aren't they?
Don't
say it like that!
Okay. I'm gonna say right off the bat, no children die in this episode.
It's like, you know, when it's got, like, themes.
Like a TV tropes page.
Yeah. Death of children. Death of wives. Pregnancy. Death. All bad things.
But the Fat Boys become like recurring characters, and they're kind of like Daredevil's eyes and ears on the ground in many ways.
Oh, that's nice.
They set up shop in the abandoned Morlock tunnels. Do you know about the Morlocks?
No.
The Morlocks are mutants who don't have a passing privilege.
Okay.
They're the mutants that just look obviously mutated.
That's mean.
Like in Futurama.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Alright.
Exactly that.
But that's mean. Like, just because they look weird doesn't mean that they're not good.
I know, but it's 2015 in the real world, and we're still dealing with racism.
Yeah.
And while they're in the Morlock tunnels, they come into contact with Sabretooth.
That's awesome.
Do you know who Sabretooth is?
I don't.
He's Wolverine's like main bad guy. He's in X-Men.
Oh yeah.
He's in X-Men 1.
Oh okay. I haven't seen a film in a while, so.
And Sabretooth having kind of an existential crisis, struggling with his humanity, and eventually after fighting with Daredevil, he just runs away to have like a cry about the nature of man versus beast within himself.
I have that cry every day.
A serial killer named Rotgut shows up.
Rotgut.
Yes.
Okay.
Who is obsessed with perfection and not passing imperfections on to new generations.
Right.
So he's kind of very similar to Rorschach in Watchmen.
Yeah.
Like he walks through the streets and he's like, everyone's terrible, everyone's awful. Like he sees a lady with like a mole on her face or like a birthmark. He's like, she's impure, she's gonna pass that impurity on to the next generation. Stuff like that.
It's just a terrible outlook on life.
It is. He comes by Matt's diner and Matt notices something's off with him, so he tracks him and sees him pick up a hooker. He tries to help her, but the pimp and his buddies are like, she can make her own choices, leave her alone. They have a fight with Daredevil, and while the fight's going on, Rotgut manages to kill the prostitute.
Why? What?
Bad guys kill people. I'm not defending the bad guy, but...
But why did it have to be the prostitute?
Well, who do you want him to kill instead?
No one.
The kids.
No, I don't want anyone to kill anyone.
Daredevil tracks Rotgut down to an apartment building where he's planning to pour poison into the water supply. Daredevil gets the Fat Boys to run around knocking door to door, telling people about the water and not to drink the water, but one of the kids knocks on and the guy's like really mean to him, so he doesn't tell him and the guy drinks some water and dies.
Oh, right. That's nice.
And while that's going on, Daredevil's trying to like relate to Rotgut, saying like, these are the powers that I have. I can sense him, like I've got this great hearing, this great sense of touch, this great sense of smell. I can sense imperfection better than anyone else.
I've just realised,
Yeah.
Isn't he blind?
Yes.
How's he a cook?
Because he's got like radar sense. He can do everything that a sighted person can do and better.
Would you hire a blind cook?
It's true.
Because like you have to go to specs, like you have to make everything look the same.
Yeah. I don't know.
Plot holes. Always thinking.
It may have been covered in the like intervening issues.
Oh, okay. I'm sure he's very good at his job.
Daredevil manages to take Rotgut out when Rotgut realises his mother, who lives in the building, drank the poisoned water.
No.
Everyone gets cured except that one guy the kid purposely didn't tell.
Okay, right. He deserved it for being mean to kids, clearly.
Daredevil later encounters a kind of a shapeshifter, face changer, a guy called Trickster who's out for attention, and the Caviar Killer.
The Caviar Killer!
Who does what you'd expect someone named the Caviar Killer to do.
Kill rich people?
Yeah. But he's aided by a Daily Bugle reporter who is setting him up with people to kill so that he can get the exclusives on the murder. And kind of a level of dissent spreads between the classes.
Right, okay.
There's one thing that I didn't really realise because I've been putting these notes together over the course of a week. As I went back and reread them to do the image gallery, there's like a point where it goes from kind of like villain of the week, like very self-contained arcs to this is the story now. And we're not quite there yet, but you can kind of tell with what I'm talking about now. And then they spent 2 issues doing this, and they spent 2 issues doing this, and then it's been 3 issues doing this.
And then it just becomes like one running thing.
Yeah, even though there's multiple stories within that.
That's good.
But we're not quite there yet.
Soon.
Daredevil finds a man running down an alley, thrashing around in pain. He takes him to the hospital and then visits his house to find out what was up with him, where he speaks to the police there. He was on tainted drugs, and there's a great line from one of the cops where he says, "It's probably crack, that new cocaine stuff."
Oh, innocence.
There's a new dealer on the street called Danny Guitar.
Danny Guitar.
Danny Guitar.
Sounds like a 14-year-old on like X Factor.
Who's playing into the Haitian community's superstition of voodoo to hook them and keep them in line.
Why is it called Danny Guitar?
It's just like a name. I don't know. How do you expect me to have the answer to that?
I thought it was like something to do with his character.
He has a guitar.
Okay, close enough.
Meanwhile, Karen has been slowly drifting from Matt. She's suffering from PTSD from her time in Mexico. Remember, she was abused and in like terrible porn films, and
I feel bad for her.
And Matt's double life as Daredevil is increasingly becoming a wedge between them. She wants him to give up on violence and head back to law, but Matt sees his work as too important.
Yeah, he would. Like, he's made this like a thing now.
Mm-hmm.
He's helping people.
And this is where it gets like at most racist, at least culturally insensitive.
Okay, right. Let's go.
The High Priestess of Haiti,
right,
a lady named Mambo,
what?
Followed Danny Guitar to New York to get revenge on him for abandoning his people back in Haiti. She uses voodoo magic to create the Nameless One.
Okay. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
To take out Danny Guitar. Danny Guitar himself gets arrested, but the Nameless One confronts him in the police station while Karen Page is also there. Daredevil shows up and fights the Nameless One and just gets wrecked to start with. But the Nameless One has like this death stare.
Okay.
And he tries to do it on Matt, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, because he can't see him.
Because he can't see him. And Matt manages to get the upper hand and he defeats the Nameless One.
Good.
But not before Danny Guitar has been rendered catatonic by the death stare.
So he's won.
Karen and Daredevil reconcile after Karen seeing how important the Daredevil work is. Mambo and the Nameless One note that they're now linked to Daredevil through the fight and will likely see him soon. That was likely to set up a story that doesn't come back in this run.
Right, so just because now they've like fought him once, it's like, well, we're villains now.
No, they were villains, then.
Like we're Daredevil villains now.
Yeah. Plus, when you're writing like an arc this big or a run this big, you want to kind of place as many seeds as you can.
Yeah, like you don't want to like leave it all until the last minute and be like, oh yeah, they were there all along, but anyway. But
not even that, just you want to leave some stuff that you might not get around to.
Yeah, because then it's like the element of surprise that you don't know which stuff's gonna get picked up.
Yeah, but as a writer yourself, you kind of don't know how long you have with the character.
Yeah, obviously. You gotta do what you can.
Karen opens a advice clinic, like a law advice clinic for Matt to try and get him back into working within the law, but he doesn't want to fall back into that life and he storms away. Daredevil starts investigating an oil company named Kelco, secretly controlled by the Kingpin, and through various other companies actually represented by Foggy Nelson, who doesn't know how shady they are.
No, Foggy, no.
After a kid gets blinded by Kelco's chemicals, Matt tries to testify against them.
Yeah.
But he can't prove what happened without saying, oh, actually, I'm Daredevil, I have these senses. And,
oh, man.
So Matt turns back to the law to fix things through the proper channels. And he sets up the advice clinic with Karen. Meanwhile, a guy you may have heard of, Wolverine.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's an alright dude. He's hunting down a guy named the Bushwhacker.
The Bushwhacker?
The Bushwhacker.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a gun for an arm.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that his arm?
That is his arm.
That's really weird.
That is really weird. Because Bushwhacker has been killing mutants all over New York, and Wolverine's hunt brings him to Hell's Kitchen. Bushwhacker's wife walks into the law advice clinic because she's scared that her husband is up to something shady.
He's got a gun for an arm. Of course he's up for something shady.
It can change back.
Oh, okay, of course. It's a magic gun arm. What?
That's just such a beautiful encapsulation of this show. Like, you've already got so cynical. Of course it's a magic gun arm. Daredevil and Wolverine both track down Bushwhacker separately, and Wolverine goes in for a kill, but Daredevil stops him because Daredevil believes in the letter of the law and right to a fair trial, all that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
And while they're arguing, Bushwhacker gets away and kills another mutant.
Why is he called Bushwhacker?
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he's like Australian.
Yeah, it sounds like an Australian thing.
Well,
Wasn't he blonde?
Yeah.
That suggests like stereotype.
Yeah. Well, there's the New Zealand WWF tag team called the Bushwhackers, who are going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Oh yeah.
That's why I think like Australasia when I hear Bushwhacker.
Yeah, like I think it is an Australasian term.
Mm-hmm. Eventually they catch up to him, and Daredevil manages to keep Wolverine from killing him long enough so that he can be arrested.
Good. That helps if you're a superhero.
A group of women show up at the advice centre who are furious with their children's teacher because he's telling them all about the atomic bomb and what America did to Japan in World War II.
It's just history.
It's just history.
Why are they so against that? Are they like, oh, America's pure?
Yeah, kind of.
Damn.
It's like, I know what you're telling my darling angels.
Oh god, yeah, like the kind of people that don't like creationism talk.
Yeah, the kind of people that do want creationism talk. Creationism.
Oh yeah.
Creationism.
You know what I meant.
Also, a man from Save the Planet
Okay.
visits the office. Who he's looking to the fight to Calco, and he wants Matt to like help them and look into their claims against the Shady Corporation. And then following that, a third man, well, not a third man because the first group of women, but a man from the government stops by and tells Matt to shut the place down because he's practicing law without a license.
Oh, he's a shady lawyer.
But Matt insists that he's just giving advice. He's not practicing law and he's not broken the law.
He knows the law,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess he's right.
Matt heads to the Save the Planet headquarters after hours to look over their stuff and see if they're legit. And while he's there, it's being wired to blow by a man named Bullet.
Who looks like a giant bullet.
You're getting onto it.
He looks like a giant bullet. Like he looks like he's wearing like a giant rubber outfit.
Bullet manages to get away and he heads home to his son. And his son is in the class that's being taught all about the bomb.
Ah, convenient.
And his son is going just nutty about it.
Right,
I think this might be the same kid who let that guy die.
Oh, it's the same kid, like...
I'm not 100% on that.
That would make sense.
But his kid is like slowly turning into one of those doomsday preppers.
Oh god. No, don't do it.
Bullet doesn't live at the house 24/7.
Oh god, he's going to end up on Discovery Channel.
So a lot of the time the kid just like lives there on his own, just hoarding stuff. And when Matt comes back, he's hit with an injunction to close down the clinic and appear before the law board to answer his crimes.
Oh no.
Bullet, continuing his work for the government to make Save the Planet look bad, kills a Kelco man, like a guy who works for the company that's employing him.
Yeah.
And leaves his body in toxic waste outside of a Save the Planet protest to make it look like Save the Planet killed him.
Oh god, that's crafty.
He heads home and hugs his son, and he accidentally contaminates his son with some residual radioactive materials.
Oh no, is this kid become like a...
I thought so, but no, it doesn't come back.
Doesn't become like radioactive man?
No, I thought it would, but nothing seems to come of that.
Oh,
I might have missed it, or it might happen a bit later. If I've missed something here, please let me know. journeytomisery@gmail.com. But I thought that would be really important.
I want to know about Radioactive Boy.
Well, I thought it didn't matter because Matt was dosed with radiation.
Yeah, it would make, like, it was there.
Mm.
It was just there. But then I guess maybe it was too obvious.
It might be another seed that never got picked
Yeah,
up
maybe
on.
she just forgot about it.
I don't think it's a case of forgetting. I just think it's a case of
Not relevant enough.
scattering as much stuff and seeing which stuff interests you as you have space for it.
Yeah.
But it does come back kind of,
Okay.
because Matt follows the smell of the radiation to Bullet
Okay.
in a pool hall, and he confronts him as Daredevil. Bullet tries to use his kid as an alibi, and although Matt can tell the kid is lying, he doesn't want to fight in front of him. So he takes the pool ball with Bullet's fingerprints and is like, well, if you weren't there, these fingerprints won't match with the fingerprints of the scene.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah. As the kid starts to question his own idolization of his father.
Oh, no.
Bullet tracks Daredevil down and the two fight until the police come and Bullet gets taken away. The next day, though, he's out on the street without even being fingerprinted, as Matt seriously begins to question his commitment to the law.
Oh, it's very sad.
At this point, Daredevil enters into one of 2 crossovers that we're going to talk about with the X-Men books.
Okay.
The first is called Fall of the Mutants.
Yeah.
And it's only very, very tangentially related. Basically, in Fall of the Mutants, as part of the story, a blackout hits New York City.
Uh-huh.
So that affects all the books that are set in New York City for like that month.
Oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And this leads to riots in Hell's Kitchen. And Black Widow and Daredevil have to like step up and like keep the peace. A gang leader named Ammo kind of recruits all the rioters. This is Ammo.
Wait, which one?
The one that isn't Daredevil.
Oh, he's very confusing. Like, half of him is like a brownish green and half of him is very stripy. I didn't know where he starts, where he ends.
Okay.
He's cool though.
He looks like Martin Lawrence in The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
With the aid of some Vietnam veterans who have kind of hit the streets to keep the peace, Daredevil and Black Widow managed to save the day.
Good.
So, what's the Kingpin up to?
No good, probably.
No good. He's furious with Matt because after everything he's done, Matt's still ticking, and Matt's law office keeps getting all up in his business. Like Kingpin runs Kelco. He's got some work with the government. Matt's just fucking it all up. And there's a really cool scene that's basically, you know, the episode of Breaking Bad with the fly.
Oh god, yeah.
It's that, but like 20 years earlier in a Daredevil
that's
comic.
Amazing.
And you know, like I said, there's like a really clear, defined point where it switches.
Is it that point?
This is it now.
Okay.
A woman named Typhoid Mary.
Does she have typhoid?
No, but she's got a host of powers. She's deadly. She can poison you.
She's well dressed.
She's well dressed. She shows up and she's going to be a big player going forward.
Nice.
And this page itself, I love this page. This is John Romita, and it's just this caption down here.
Touch her. She's the best.
I love that so much. It's so comics.
Put that on my gravestone.
She shows up and starts making waves in the underworld, saying she's going to run New York. This gets through to Kingpin, who's been solidly focused on Matt Murdock, but he wants to know everything about this new player in town. Meanwhile, Matt has been working with Tyrone. Okay. The kid blinded by the chemicals.
Oh, his name's Tyrone, that's cute.
And he's trying to train him like Matt himself was trained by Stick.
Oh, okay, so he's trying to help out a blind kid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
But it's just not working. Kingpin sits down with a dossier that has everything his men have gathered on Typhoid Mary.
Okay, right.
She has a split personality.
Yeah, like half of her was pink and half of her was white.
Yeah. So there's Mary, who as a child was docile and sickly and very calm. And there's Typhoid, who is utterly uncontrollable and murderous.
She sounds amazing.
She disappeared for years, but Mary showed back up as a successful stage actress and, according to the comic, seemed destined to be the next great actress of the 20th century.
I love her.
But then she disappeared when Typhoid took back over, and next thing people heard of her, she was in Chicago, causing a ruckus.
She's amazing.
Kingpin is very impressed by Typhoid Mary and wants to hire her to strike at Matt Murdock and puts word out that he's looking for her.
I'd hire her if I needed a criminal.
She shows up at Kingpin's office and she tries to use her pyrokinesis on him.
Ooh, okay.
Do you know what pyrokinesis is?
Yes.
Yeah. But Kingpin just shrugs it off because he's a big dude. And he tells her about the job. For $1 million, she has to make Matt Murdock fall in love with her completely and then rip his heart out.
Literally?
Metaphorically.
Oh, okay.
But leave him alive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, literally wouldn't have done that.
As Mary, she introduces herself to Matt as a teacher to the blind kids.
Oh.
And Matt hires her to work with Tyrone.
Oh no!
Where did you think that was going?
I don't know! I still, deep down, expect the best in people.
Mary's quite quick in her seduction of Matt, and he falls for it almost immediately.
Oh, Matt, no. No.
And he's still with Karen.
Oh, yeah! No. This is all wrong. It's all so wrong.
The Kelco case goes to trial, with Foggy Nelson representing the corporation and Kingpin ready to seize victory, but Matt nowhere to be found. Nearby, Daredevil is attacked by Typhoid.
Okay, right.
But he doesn't put it together that it's the woman he's cheating on his girlfriend with, because his radar sense can't pinpoint her. Typhoid gets the upper hand and runs off, leaving Matt confused. He makes it to the trial and it's going his way, even though he's not the one representing Tyrone.
Yeah.
Because he's not allowed to. And when court is adjourned for deliberation, Kingpin's so worried he's going to lose, he orders that one of the juries bought to make sure it goes his way.
No, that's not how it works.
The Mary personality begins genuinely falling in love with Matt.
Oh no, that's sad.
But Typhoid tries to keep her in line and under thumb. Matt heads to see Foggy for the first time in ages and asks him if he's proud to be working for the Kingpin of Crime. He offers his old friend a job at the law clinic and gets chewed out by his ex, Foggy's current girlfriend, Glory, on his way out.
It's just a whole mess of women.
Mm-hmm. That could be the subtitle to Daredevil. Daredevil, a whole mess of women. Typhoid heads to the juror and tries to bribe her, but the juror doesn't want the money, but she doesn't exactly refuse it either. Daredevil chases Typhoid through the sewer, and as she gets away, the Mary personality comes out a bit more, and she makes her way, but Matt recognises the change in heartbeat, but he doesn't place it to Mary. He's just like, that was weird.
Yeah, he's like, maybe something was up.
Matt heads to the juror as Daredevil, and she gives him the envelope full of money to give back to Wilson Fisk. Then Foggy approaches Wilson Fisk and quits as the lawyer representing Kelko.
Okay, that's good.
The jury finds Kelko guilty, and they have to pay damages to Tyrone.
Oh, how much does he get?
It doesn't say.
No, I hope he got loads.
As everyone tells Matt what a good man he is, he can't stop thinking of Mary and what it's doing to his relationship with Karen.
I like him less now that he's this adulterous mess, but it's not his fault. Like, he's been played.
Typhoid decides to strike out on her own, independent from Kingpin, and really stick it to Daredevil. Mary's love for Matt is helping her gain ground in the struggle between the two personalities, so Typhoid needs to kill Daredevil to reassert herself as the dominant personality.
Yeah, like, she's getting too into it.
She recruits all of his recent enemies to strike at him at once. First, Bullet attacks him in his home, and as soon as he's done taking out him, Bushwhacker strikes, and then when Daredevil's on the ropes, Ammo strikes, followed by the Wild Boys, and then finally Typhoid gets him, and Matt is just completely worn out after facing like 5 villains, just one after another, and for the coup de grace, she drops him off a bridge into the kind of grassy wastes below.
Oh, is he done?
Yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Oh.
The Human Torch
Yeah?
stops by the legal aid clinic and gets drafted into the search to find Daredevil. He tries his best to act tough and intimidate local thugs, but just gets laughed at. So he challenges the biggest, baddest guy in the bar to a fight with no powers and manages to win.
Yeah.
But following that, the rest of the bar storm him. He burns down the bar in the fight and leaves with no answers.
That's amazing. Like, I can't win, I'm burning the place down.
Typhoid stops by Kingpin's office and he's not happy that she's seemingly killed Daredevil, but she has Fisk wrapped around her finger as well. She seems to have like a low-level influence on men, like almost a seduction power.
Fair play.
Mary, on the other hand, regains control while stood on the bridge. Typhoid dropped Daredevil off, and little does she know that the man she loves lies broken below her feet.
Oh.
And then we get to the second of the X-Men crossovers.
Okay.
It's a crossover named Inferno, where New York gets overrun by demons.
Sweet. That sounds awesome.
And for the most part in the Daredevil book, people just go about their day-to-day life. It's like, okay, what is it this week, demons? Alright, I've got to get to work. And Karen Page and Black Widow are trying to hunt down Daredevil. As Mary pines for her lost love, Matt is still under the bridge, hallucinating that Stick is there berating him, telling him to get up.
Oh no.
Daredevil gets attacked by a vacuum cleaner, possessed by the evil which has overrun Manhattan.
Oh, that's the best thing.
Which is Nocenti's metaphor for how the city itself has turned against him.
Okay, right.
And this fight makes him realise he wants to live. He fights it off, which alerts Mary on the bridge above, who heads down to help him. He destroys the demony kind of vacuum monster. But the explosion causes Typhoid to reassert itself, and she reveals to Matt that she and Mary are one and the same.
Oh no.
Matt wakes up in hospital with Karen watching him from outside his room, but he's in the hospital as Daredevil.
Oh, okay,
Not as Matt, because he was found in his costume.
Oh, okay, right.
And the doctors, kind of out of respect for him, have him in there as Daredevil.
They haven't unmasked him.
Yeah. Mary shows up and she's like, "Oh, Matt, what's wrong?" And Karen's like, "No, that's not Matt, that's Daredevil. Who are you talking about, Matt?" And she's like, "Oh no, he's Matt, he's my boyfriend, Matt Murdock."
Oh yeah, way to go. Ruin everything.
And Karen Page runs away crying with the realisation that Matt's been cheating on her.
Yeah.
Matt wakes up to the Inferno crisis worse than ever, and demons just ruling over New York, including the criminal aspects. And Mary's made a deal with some devils to get even more power to challenge the Kingpin.
Oh no.
Daredevil himself gets stuck on a runaway demon train that's going to hell.
Oh my god.
He's like a subway train that turns into a demon.
Jesus Christ, this is like an episode of Scooby-Doo.
And he has to fight his way to the front of the train, seize the controls and try to divert its path. There's a great line that says, "Can one man change the course of evil?" Which he does.
He does it.
Yeah, he like the train's going like straight down to hell, and he pulls back up, and it goes back up, and the train like morphs into this giant dragon demon, and Matt, through his faith, manages to defeat it and save everyone aboard the train.
That's the most bizarre fever dream ever.
Nope, not a fever dream. All happened.
Yeah, but it's like a fucking fever dream.
As the demons take over more of New York, possessing people and objects and making them all demony, Daredevil focuses on keeping his neighborhood safe, and it's weird how normal this is for everyone. Like, one dude literally is like, "Excuse me, Daredevil, my bus has been possessed by demons. Do you mind?"
It's like Night Vale.
It is.
Like, everything's just totally normal.
And Daredevil's going from one fight to the next with a singular focus, not even saying a word. He goes about showing the people of New York that they can be good in the face of evil, even if that means picking up litter after he's just defeated a giant demon police officer.
Oh, that's cute.
After that, he goes for a beer with the people he just saved, and he's chatted up by a hot lady. And he's still in his Daredevil costume. As she's seducing him and kind of like leaning in closer for that kiss, everyone in the bar starts getting angry with each other and start fighting each other and just like tearing at each other. Matt snaps out of the seduction and just smacks the woman across the bar.
What? Okay.
Who reveals herself to be Mephisto.
Sweet.
You remember Mephisto?
Yeah.
From the Loki episode.
Yeah.
He's been watching Daredevil and he wants to prove to Matt that one man can't stand up to the immensity of evil. And one day soon, Matt will willingly embrace Mephisto as he did in the bar.
Yeah.
And I love Nocenti's take on Mephisto. I love Romita's take on Mephisto, the way he draws him. And the way Romita draws Mephisto it wildly changes on what's going on in the story. Very genderless in a way. I kind of want to use they them pronouns for Mephisto, because sometimes they look really almost sensual, and sometimes they look just gluttonous and
Terrifying.
disgusting. Yeah, it's really cool on Romita's part. And Nocenti writes Mephisto as this metaphysical embodiment of humanity and humanity's limits of imagination in ways. Now, there's a bit where Mephisto's talking about how the only reason why hell is fire and brimstone is because that's as much as humanity can conceive, but it's so much worse than that.
Yeah, like, I imagine it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's just a really cool take on the character, one of my favourite takes, and I didn't think there'd be anyone who would even come close to Kieran Gillen's take on the character.
He looked pretty cool. They look pretty cool.
So once again, Daredevil is left with nothing. Karen's left him due to his betrayal. He had his law office taken away from him. He runs into Bullet's kid, Lance, and saves him from some bullies. So Lance invites him home, where he sees that the kid has just been stockpiling guns and supplies due to his obsession with doomsday prepping.
Oh yeah, he like hoards everything, doesn't he?
Bullet comes home and sees Daredevil hanging out with his kid and flips out, but Lance manages to get them to stop fighting and explains to his dad that Daredevil saved him. And Bullet's cool with it as long as Daredevil understands that the previous run-ins were just professional.
Right, okay, cool.
Bullet's this weird character where he's kind of reprehensible, but he's also like a really good dad. Like, there's one scene much later where it's just Bullet arguing with Lance's mum.
Oh, that's amazing.
Saying, like, you said you'd come look after him. Like, what do you mean you've got a date?
Oh, that's cute. So it's like, he's a bad guy, but he's also a good guy.
Yeah, he's three-dimensional.
He's a person.
Matt burns what he has left of Karen and his law books, and he just takes off on a train heading north, just to get away from everything.
Oh, babe.
He passes a crashed plane on the train, so he jumps out to help. He drags a man out of the wreckage of what he sees to be a government plane, and the man is carrying like a lot of drugs.
Oh.
But he has to pretend not to see them.
Why?
Because he's blind.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry. Jesus Christ. It's been a long day.
So, and the guy says, "I've got a farm nearby, if you need a job, give me a shout." Matt gets a room in a small bed and breakfast and overhears the couple that run it arguing, with the woman telling her husband to tell his brother that he wants out. Daredevil investigates and finds the husband and his brother, who is a loan shark, roughing someone up. He returns later to confront the brother and learns that he's working for the Kingpin.
Of course.
He convinces the brother to quit being a loan shark and let his brother off the hook. Matt leaves the bed and breakfast with a smile on his face, having helped at least 2 people.
Oh, he's still helping people even though he's tried to get away.
Yeah.
He can't stop.
Then in the small town, up in rocks, Freedom Force.
Okay.
Freedom Force is the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yes.
who have given their services to the government in order to enforce the Mutant Registration Act,
Right, okay.
which, very funnily enough, the initials of the Mutant Registration Act are MRA.
For fuck's sake. Who are those guys?
So you might recognise some of these from the cartoon or the movies. That's Pyro.
Yeah.
You know Pyro from the films. The Blob.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that is a lady named Spiral.
Okay. She's got
6 arms.
six
She's
arms.
got 6 arms.
2 of them on arms.
2 of them are cybernetic.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm into it. That's cool.
She's the most comic book character of all time. Until we get to Cable.
Who's Cable?
I don't think we'll ever do Cable. Cable's an X-Men character.
Okay.
So I don't think we'll ever do Cable. Freedom Force are in town because there's a mutant there that they want to bring in.
Oh, they want to like draft?
Well, not draft, but there's a registration act. So they need to bring in unregistered mutants.
Oh, right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Matt overhears one of the townsfolk tell Pyro where this girl is, and he manages to get her just before Pyro does. Pyro gets the upper hand and knocks Daredevil out, but later Matt manages to convince the Blob that Pyro was going to leave him and take the girl on his own, causing the Blob to track down Pyro, and they get in a bit of a fight, which is enough of a distraction for the girl to get away. With the help of this girl, who is discovered to have telekinesis, Daredevil is able to defeat Freedom Force and send them packing before leaving himself. So, following this, Mephisto sends his son.
Okay.
Mephisto sends their son, sorry.
Who is...
Blackheart.
Whoa! That's amazing.
And if you've seen the first Ghost Rider film, which I don't think you have,
Is this the one with Nicolas Cage? I have, unfortunately.
it's Blackheart's the villain.
Yeah, but that one's cooler.
Yeah, in the film he just kind of looks like Brandon Urie.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So Mephisto sent Blackheart to Earth to prove himself, and he must seek out a foe to do it against. Blackheart strikes at Daredevil, who's just been swinging around an abandoned carnival collecting his thoughts.
Yeah, she's been like chilling.
And meanwhile, Peter Parker has been getting the bus nearby,
Oh, Peter!
and his spider sense goes off, so they team up.
Of course they do. Why wouldn't they?
So nothing Daredevil does has any effect on Blackheart, but Spider-Man enters the fray and they're trying to defeat him. Daredevil tries to kill Blackheart by electrocution, but Spider-Man sees that Blackheart isn't doing anything to defend himself, and it seems that he wants Daredevil to kill him,
Yeah.
to corrupt him.
Yeah, okay.
Spider-Man manages to snap Daredevil out of it though.
Oh, go on, Spidey.
They need to knock him out, but they can't. Luckily for them, one of Mephisto's rules were don't avoid the eyes of mankind.
Yeah.
And a crowd started to gather when this amusement park just started slowly falling apart.
So we left.
So Blackheart pieces out. As Daredevil tries to put together what happened, he recognises Mephisto in the crowd, just too late, as they get away.
No.
Back at that farm where that guy works.
Oh, yeah. Drug man.
Yeah, the drug man with some government connections. It's called Skip.
Yeah. Of course it's called Skip.
You're not gonna like this.
Okay.
He's keeping animals in dreadful conditions.
Oh.
Regardless of what his foreman has to tell them about animal rights.
Why is he...
Because it makes him the most money. I'm sorry, babe.
That's really sad.
Like, there's one bit where he says the new cage they got for the pigs, it's like breaking their legs.
Oh.
And the guy's just like, well, what do they need legs for? They're not going anywhere.
Oh, that's really sad. Oh. It's like the Barry hens.
Yeah.
They can't do anything.
He has Barry hands as well.
Of course he does. I don't like it.
Daredevil runs into Skip's daughter, Brandy, and he watches her train on gymnast bars and kind of load up with a bunch of weapons. And he's like, oh, she's running drugs for her father. So he follows her, but he has a confrontation with her and finds out that she hates her father and she's an animal rights activist.
Yes!
Back at the farm, we discover that Skip has scientists working on selective breeding,
Okay.
including chickens with oversized wings
Oh.
and pigs with no legs.
That's really sad.
He also, in a secret room, has some ladies in stasis,
What?
as he's trying to develop the perfect wife.
Oh god, that's creepy.
Beautiful and indestructible.
He doesn't deserve anyone.
Out of all the ladies, he wants number 9 at the most.
Okay. Why does she only have one leg?
That's how she's running.
Oh, it's the terrible drawing again, isn't it? Where
Yeah.
like legs look like they're coming out hips.
Yeah,
She looks like she's got like one leg.
yeah, I know.
Why?
But
Who's responsible for this?
he wants number 9, but his scientists tell him she's too dangerous, she's too volatile, and that any of the other women in stasis would be safer options.
She looks powerful.
Brandy tells Daredevil that she hates her father, she's an animal rights activist looking to free the animals, and to shame her father by releasing footage of his factory farm to the news. Matt comes along with her, and in the ruckus they accidentally shatter number 9 stasis tube. Matt and Brandy escape, and as they do, they notice number 9 running alongside the car before she's shot down by security.
Oh, is she okay?
Matt and Brandy rescue number 9, who is uninjured,
Good.
as Skip demands that she's retrieved and recruits an operative named Shotgun.
Okay. Whoa, the Rock.
To bring her back. Shotgun tracks down Matt, Brandy, number 9 to Brandy's ranch. Well, number 9's kind of going through an existential crisis. Who am I? What am I here for?
Yeah, she was in a tube.
She's kind of like bred and developed to be perfect.
Yeah, like she doesn't have any like life knowledge.
Matt chases Shotgun off for now, but he goes back to retool while Daredevil prepares the area for his return. Shotgun returns in a tank,
Of course.
but Daredevil's kitted out of the area like it's an episode of the A-Team.
Oh god, that's amazing.
The two fight on top of the tank, which Shotgun crashes into a tree. Matt tries to warn him, but he leaps off, and Matt saves himself, but Shotgun gets caught in the explosion and dies.
Oh.
Later, Skip decides if he wants something doing, do it right. He shows up on his own, but Daredevil handily defeats him, and he's told to clean up his act, or Brandy will take a case against him in public.
Yeah.
As they're all arguing, there's a flash of light, and in pops...
Who comes? Who is it? Yes! Yes! He's here! He's here! It's back!
I'm really worried the microphone isn't picking up the nuances of these shudders.
I'm so happy. He's back!
Who is it?
It's Lockjaw.
It's Lockjaw.
What's he back for? Is he going to release all the animals?
No.
Oh.
The animals got released already.
Oh, they're free! Is he
Yeah.
going to be friends with them?
No.
Oh.
That's actually... Lockjaw is only here to bring Karnak and Gorgon here. Lockjaw leaves.
Oh, okay.
So,
He's just a chauffeur.
yeah.
Oh well, they didn't get hurt.
So Karnak and Gorgon are there, and they're searching for Medusa's son, who is on Earth,
Oh, okay.
which
right.
we covered in the Inhumans
We
episode.
did.
And they found a record of a spaceship that travelled from Atalan to that location. But it turns out that it was someone in Atalan supplying Skip with tech for his genetic experiments.
Right.
So they kind of are dead end. Then there's a crossover story called Acts of Vengeance, which is where essentially all the bad guys decide, you know what, I fight the Fantastic Four every week and they always beat me. You fight Captain America every week and he always beats you. Why don't you fight the Fantastic Four and I'll fight Captain America?
That makes sense.
So
That's good logic.
they all swap. So it's heroes going against villains they've never fought before.
I'm into that.
Doctor Doom recreates Ultron
Ah.
from a defeated drone body. And while he thinks he's created a brand new Ultron model to serve him and take down Daredevil, this new Ultron, Ultron 13, has the varying personalities and goals of each previous iteration.
Ooh.
Like, say,
Ooh.
Ultron 7 wanted to kill Henry Pym, but Ultron 8 was actually a friend to humanity, but then Ultron 9 had different goals. They're all competing in
Oh, that's not good.
Ultron's.
It's not going to end well.
Ultron sets up shop near to where Daredevil and the gang are. The Inhumans are still there, trying to reconcile his multiple goals with the one bit of him placed there by Doom that instructs him to kill Daredevil.
Yeah.
Number 9 accidentally stumbles upon him while out for a jog, and Ultron tries to kill her, but when she doesn't die, he knows that she's the true perfection that he's been striving for.
Ah. Still doesn't deserve him.
Ultron starts wigging out because each of his personalities wants to do something different with number 9, and he has a full-on existential meltdown. Daredevil and the Inhumans hear 9 screams and show up to her aid, but Ultron gets away as he tries to solve the paradox of her perfection.
Oh,
Because he says, like,
no.
well, nothing can be perfect. If something's perfect, it ceases to be. How are you perfect? If you're perfect, you need to cease to be. I need to kill you.
Oh. No.
Ultron's going seriously buggy as he tries to sift through all the personalities in his head and find the one that's truly him. And if you haven't got it yet, that's a big theme running through Nocenti's work.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
like Matt and Daredevil, Typhoid and Mary, Ultron and Ultron and Ultron and Ultron and Ultron.
Is everyone figuring out
Yeah.
what they are?
He flips out and he kind of like pulls his head off a little bit. So it's like dangling by wires. And he thinks like if you can find the right wire to remove it, it'll make himself happy.
Oh no, I feel so
It's
bad
a
for
really,
him.
really cool, nuanced look at Ultron that I really, really liked.
It makes him seem like people.
Yeah, well, it's like in the trailer, like he's basically Pinocchio.
Yeah.
He's if Pinocchio was like, no, fuck you, Geppetto, I has to be made.
If Pinocchio wasn't creepy.
No, Ultron's pretty creepy.
Yeah, but not creepy in the same way.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't like him.
I forgot about that.
He weirds me out.
Daredevil and the Inhumans show up and they manage to decapitate Ultron, who in his dying moments cries out for number 9.
Oh.
As it's all over, she secretly sneaks off with Ultron's head, promising to revive him someday. The Inhumans leave the ranch on their search for Uhura, Black Bolt's kid.
Yeah.
And number 9 goes with them to experience life on the road and America.
Yeah.
Mephisto meets up with Blackheart and they have a conversation about the immensity of evil and how small humanity's scope for it is and how dull and boring humanity's idea of evil is. Instead, he's going to train his son in the high art of evil. To really exploit evil, you need to take down a good man slowly. Create a spark of evil in a man and nurture it into a flame. For Blackheart's final test, he must take a heroic man and make him commit an irredeemable sin.
Okay.
Back on the ranch, Brandy and Daredevil decide to follow the Inhumans and number 9 and help them find Black Bolt's son.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing.
But they've just picked up Hitchhiker, Blackheart.
Oh no.
Brandy and Daredevil come across the Inhumans' car on the side of the road with Karnak and Gorgon fighting due to Blackheart's dark influence.
Yeah.
Daredevil goes to break it up, but he can sense Blackheart is nearby and he runs into the woods after him. He catches up to the man he believes to be Blackheart in disguise and starts beating the tar out of him. Blackheart reveals himself and says that he's going to use Daredevil's heroic superiority to bring him down, and then the next thing Daredevil knows, he's still beating what seems to be an innocent man.
No! Is that the spark of evil?
Not yet.
Okay. Soon.
As Daredevil and co carry on down the road, they continue to encounter strange mood swings and wild hallucinations due to Blackheart's influence.
Yeah.
They come across a town where the townsfolk have been whipped into a frenzy over a little boy who accidentally killed a goat through unknown means. And Daredevil steps in to save him. Nearby to the town, they find a crashed Atalanian ship, meaning this boy is...
Sorry?
Meaning this boy is...
I don't know. Who is he?
There's a crashed Inhuman ship just outside town.
Is he just on?
Yes.
He's a son. I thought so, but then I was like, is it a different character?
So everyone starts arguing because number 9 doesn't want Gorgon to leave, Karnak doesn't like it that number 9 and Gorgon have been flirting, and all these weird devil creatures are floating about. They're kind of like the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like just that, like no angel. Just kind of whipping things into a frenzy. And they're all arguing, and then the ground opens up and swallows everyone.
Oh.
Everyone gets split up and winds up in different aspects of the underworld, their own personal hells.
Yeah.
Daredevil's trapped in a terminal winter with nothing around to ping his radar sense off, just snow in every direction.
Oh.
He eventually comes across a confessional booth.
Yeah, so you can tell people things.
He manages to break the cross off the top and start a fire to keep himself warm. And somewhere Mephisto's livid that someone managed to make fire in hell, but it wasn't him.
Oh.
Meanwhile, everyone else is somewhere different. Like Karnak and Gorgon are off doing their own thing, and Brandy and Uhura are climbing this big mountain, and number 9 is with these angels.
Yeah.
Matt carries on through the snow with fire to keep him warm and fight off the demons that now deluge upon him. Daredevil keeps fighting and fighting, which is exactly what Mephisto wants. When Matt realises that, he stops, and so do the demons.
Oh, he's caught wind of his plan.
Yeah.
Good.
He resolves to find Mephisto to take him down, and he kind of marches through hell, and he's the one man in hell who stands tall.
Ah, that's really cool.
So all the defeated and broken souls start following him.
Oh, that's
crawling
amazing.
behind him.
He's got this army of hell people.
Yeah, it's really cool. The way Romita draws it is they look like they're made of pudding almost.
Ah.
Just yellow pudding people that just kind of
like lava people.
Yeah, like lava people, but it's one mass where they come up out of it.
Like bubbling heads.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, like torsos.
Oh, that's really cool.
And meanwhile, all of his posse made out through their own personal hells as well. And Blackheart takes that as a sign that Mephisto's time has passed, and his idea of humanity is archaic. So he tries to assassinate his father.
Oh.
But he gets cast out and forced to live his days as a human. He still has his powers, but if he tries to use them, they'll drive him mad.
Oh, that's the worst.
So yeah, Nocenti's Mephisto is just awesome, very metaphysical. He's what humanity thinks he is. He wants to be this all-powerful, nuanced, subtle devil, but humanity sees evil as black and white, and that's what they shape him into. Daredevil leads his army of the damned straight to Mephisto, who has become large and grotesque and just gross, huge instead of person-sized, and with a really fat belly. And Matt says that instead of fighting Mephisto, they're going to walk away and turn the other cheek.
Oh.
And in anger, Mephisto kills Brandy, reducing her to ashes.
Oh.
Then the Silver Surfer shows up.
Yeah.
long-time Mephisto villain who could sense that his long-time foe was up to no good. The surprise appearance from the Surfer gives Daredevil and the gang enough time to break away and escape back to Earth, as Mephisto is locked in battle with his old enemy. Number 9 decides to go it alone and find herself, and then humans take the child back to Atalan.
That's good. Safe.
And there's a bit where, during Brandy's story through hell, she met this angel, and now she's dead, she gets to hang out with that angel. So she gets a happy ending even though she's dead.
That's good. Not everything is terrible.
Daredevil returns to New York, reflecting over his adventures while he was away. He tries to prevent a mugging, but he starts hallucinating, and like the trauma of what he's been through in hell starts really messing with him. The mugger gets the best of him. He starts questioning his powers as he starts acting up. He tries to play pool at the local bar, but gets trounced. The word gets out that Daredevil's defenceless, and he gets attacked by a gang of mobsters. He sees them as demons from Mephisto's hell, and thinks he's beaten them.
Oh no.
But back in reality, he's just stood there frozen, and they beat him up.
Oh god.
Meanwhile, there's a man who's been slinking around in an office building, stealing some stuff. He defeated a security guard with a well-aimed CD to the hands, like knocking his gun out of his hands. He saves Daredevil from the mobsters by flicking coins really fast into the back of them. The man heads down and unmasks Matt, saying Daredevil looks familiar, but Matt's like, I'm not Daredevil, my name's Jack. But it is Matt.
Yeah. He's just really confused.
The next time we see Matt, he's walking around the streets of New York as Jack Murdoch,
Okay.
amnesia sufferer. If you remember, that's his dad's name.
Yeah.
As Daredevil swings by overhead.
What? Why? What's happening?
Matt, or Jack, who I'm going to start referring to as Jack Matt,
Jack.
he starts freaking out because he doesn't know he has these powers.
Yeah.
He knows where stuff is, but he can't see it, and everything's just so very loud. Meanwhile, reports start coming in of Daredevil's return to New York City, but it's not good news. He's mugging people and just beating people up, and he sees a judge getting beaten up, and he's just like, and fucks off.
Ah.
Luckily, Jack Matt is in the area,
Yeah.
and he rescues him and takes him back home and promises to walk the judge to work the next day. Jack Matt also makes friends with a street artist named Nyla, who invites him to stay at her squat, and they become kind of lovers.
Ah.
But her squat is the remains of Matt's home that Kingpin blew up in Born Again.
Yeah.
Nyla convinces Jack to go on a bit of a rob with her.
Oh no.
But when they get... And she's like, oh, you're really good at this.
Oh god. No.
But Matt's overriding sense of justice kicks in. He's like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah, hello man.
On his way to pick up the judge, to take the judge to work, he passes his old gym. He's like, this seems familiar. And he gets to the judge's house to find the judge has been murdered in revenge for like an old trial.
Oh no.
He and the judge's son head to where they know the killers are hanging out, but get in an argument about what to do with them. And the son's really, really angry because he's like... Because the judge and the son are black.
Yeah.
And the son's like, what do you know about what we have to go through?
Oh.
Like, this isn't yours to be putting your nose in.
Yeah.
So Matt heads to the gym and he says, I bet you I can be the toughest guy here blindfolded. And he does, so he gets hired as a boxer.
Nice.
Meanwhile, Daredevil has been increasingly brazen in his acts of crime.
Yeah.
Just robbing people, like jewel theft, all sorts of stuff. Which makes Ben Urich question, like, what's Daredevil up to?
Yeah, what's going on?
He goes to visit Foggy Nelson and see if he's heard from Matt, and he hasn't, but in the meantime he's managed to prove the charges against him that cost him his law licence were all trumped up.
Yeah.
He just needs Matt now to show up and get reinstated as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Jack Matt begins competing professionally as a boxer, where he's spotted by Wilson Fisk, who doesn't know that Matt has lost his memory. He's like, what are you up to, Daredevil?
He's like, what?
Jack goes to check in on the judge's son, but when he gets there he's interrogating one of the men who killed his father.
Yeah.
He overhears where the other guy is, beats him up and hangs him up in the middle of the street with a sign saying Judge Killer. So even when he's not Daredevil, his like vigilante instincts
Oh wow.
come through. So Daredevil, not Matt, Daredevil's girlfriend goes to the Daily Bugle and tells them that he's a deranged Robin Hood,
Oh.
kind of like stealing from the rich and giving to the
Yeah.
poor, and he's seriously unwell. The Bugle run the story and people start to support him, which angers Daredevil because he doesn't want to be seen as a hero.
Yeah.
So why doesn't Daredevil want to be seen as a hero?
Because he's messed up.
Why is Daredevil seemingly actively ruining the good name of Daredevil?
Because he's not Daredevil.
Because he's not Daredevil,
He's someone else.
it's Bullseye.
Ah, yes! Yeah, because he can do all the things.
The man that Daredevil encountered at the start of this story,
Yeah.
who saved him with the coins.
Yeah, with the coins and the flicking.
Yeah, Bullseye, who's out to ruin Daredevil's reputation.
What, it might be him. I like him.
He goes on a crime spree dressed as Daredevil. You like him? He killed Elektra.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He goes on a crime spree dressed as Daredevil to really make the public hate him. Kingpin, who starts a hate on for Matt, even though Jack Matt doesn't know it, orders Bullseye to kidnap Nyla during the fight.
Yeah.
So during the fight, Jack Matt gets the news that she's been kidnapped, and that if he doesn't throw the fight, she's going to be killed.
Stop killing women.
So he decides to have to throw the fight, and he's getting knocked all over the place. He gets knocked out of the ring and helped back up by Ben Urich, who's like, "What are you doing? Why are you living your dad's life? You're Matt Murdock, you're not Jack Murdock."
Oh no, and does he like remember?
He goes back into the fight, and he gets confused, and he starts thinking that he is his dad and he needs to fight for his son in the crowd.
Oh, that's weird.
He wins the fight and like remembers everything. And he's like, if my dad threw that fight that night, he'd still be here. But for not throwing that fight, I'm Daredevil, and how many people have been saved?
Yeah, he was a good egg.
So he swears to take down Fisk's empire. Also, he heads to Fisk's offices and saves Nyla, and vows to take down Fisk as well as find the phony Daredevil who's been giving him a bad name. He manages to track down Bullseye's lair and immediately recognises, yeah, this is Bullseye.
Okay, so he's back on track now.
Yeah, he's got his head straight.
Nice.
He decides to play Bullseye's own game, dressing in the traditional Bullseye costume to strike back at his longtime foe.
He's a good villain.
So now you've got Bullseye dressed as Daredevil and Daredevil dressed as Bullseye.
So confusing.
So he attacks Daredevil and acts as if he was Bullseye, tricking Bullseye into thinking that he's actually Daredevil and Daredevil is Bullseye.
Oh god.
Do you get that?
Why? Why?
They fight each other across the rooftops, pretending to be each other in a mocking
Oh,
way.
for fuck's sake.
And I was trying to think the best way to explain like what they're saying to each other.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to say it is, you know that episode of Friends where with the doctors with George Clooney,
Yeah.
where Monica is Rachel and Rachel's Monica,
Yeah.
and they're like saying, "Oh well, I'm Rachel, so I do." It's like that.
Oh god. It's so petty.
So Daredevil is dressed as Bullseye and being like, "Oh, when you dropped me off that building, I was ruined for months." And
Jesus Christ.
it's a really, really good issue though.
It sounds like the dumbest thing ever, but I bet it reads hilariously.
No, it doesn't even read hilarious. It's just cool. It's just really, really cool. I really feel like I may have done this issue a bit of a disservice because it's just a really, really good issue.
I want to read it.
And like Bullseye is like, "But I'm going to win because Daredevil always wins."
Yeah.
But then this is the one fight that Bullseye wins because Bullseye is Daredevil.
Yeah, because that's how it works.
He reclaims his mask and the comments on how in the end they're more similar than they'd like to admit. So following this, Matt reunites with Foggy and he takes down Bullet to help expose the crooked contractor, and in the fight he kind of proves to the people of New York that the true Daredevil's back and that Daredevil is a hero to Hell's Kitchen. And that is Nocenti's run on Daredevil.
I like it.
You like it a lot?
I like it a lot.
Thumbs up?
Yes.
Awesome.
Except for, like, death and the animals.
Less death this time, I think.
Yeah, less death, more animals.
No, I mean like there was less, not as in a motto, like less death, but there was less death in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like that? You like Nocenti's run?
I like Daredevil.
You like Daredevil? Awesome.
I like Bullseye. Well, I don't like Bullseye, but he's a good villain.
So, what was once a 3-parter turned into a 5-parter?
Oh god. Oh no.
As next week we're going to be doing the Marvel Knights run. We're going to do Kevin Smith, David Mack and Brian Bendis. Following that we're going to do Ed Brubaker.
Okay.
Following that we're going to do Shadowland and Mark Waid.
Cool.
And then we'll have covered all the bases of Daredevil. Until then, we've got one last segment to do.
Are we going to watch a thing?
We're going to watch a thing. I want to watch with you the fight. Well, I don't want to say fight. I've spoiled it a little bit there. The first meeting of Daredevil and Elektra from the film. So we're going to watch that now and then get H's reaction in just a second.
Stop hitting me.
Okay. My name's Electra Nachos.
So what do you think of that?
It was dumb.
It's really dumb. It's really fucking dumb, isn't it?
It's like... it's like really like classic kung fu movie. Like...
Nah, it's worse than that.
Like...
I kind of love it though.
Yeah, like it's
fucking awful.
It's so bad that it's almost good.
It's just there's a bit where like the camera pans out between them and it looks like the resting phase before a fighting game.
Yeah. Oh god, it does.
Like you're just gonna hear,
Nice.
ready, fight,
Then there's like some start-up music.
Yeah, and like when Matt throws his cane in the air and like takes his jacket off and then catches it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
so
god.
dumb. It's really stilted as well. It doesn't feel very natural.
Yeah, that's why I said it was like a kung fu movie, because it's all like very choppy.
Yeah. So does that make you want to watch the Daredevil film anymore?
I want to watch it just because I want to see how shit it is.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I guess just to say like I've seen it, but not because it actually looks good.
Okay, so that's our episode for this week. Before we get out of there, a few things that we always get around to. We're on iTunes. Please leave us a rating, review, subscribe, all that stuff. That's more people find the show. We're on Patreon, which we mention too often, not often enough. I never know what the balance is. Patreon.com/KingImpulse. Please, we need $50 to make Helena watch Howard the Duck.
I don't want that.
I'm thinking of some more goals, some more awards. If anyone has any ideas for awards, please let us know. journeytomisery@gmail.com for any corrections, any questions. Because we don't have the favourite superhero thing at the end of this, I want to make sure there's a bit more like bang for your buck at the end. So if anyone has any listener questions, please send them into journeytomisery@gmail.com and we'll read them at the end of the episode. Whether they're for me, whether they're for Helena, or for both of us, please send us some listener questions. We will read them on the show.
Could be interesting.
KingImpulse.com is where you can find the image gallery and all the previous episodes. My name is Kieran Shiak. I am King Impulse on Twitter.
I'm Helena Hart. I'm at HU on Twitter.
This has been A Journey to Misery.
No.
We'll see you next
Bit.
week.